After 3 years of having to produce the Portal to Ascension conference online, we have been waiting for this moment. The Portal to Ascension conference is returning live and in person. Join us at the Marina Village in San Diego, California, April 21st to 23rd, 2023. As massive shifts are happening on the planet and hidden truths are being uncovered, we are piecing together the fragmented parts of our existence and timeline. At Portal to Ascension, we are dedicated to full circle awareness of the truth of who we are and remembrance of our connection to the cosmos. This is showtime. There is no holding back. Now is the time for us to harmonize the frequencies and create unity and peace on Earth. We are deprogramming from an outdated matrix system, re-educating and remembering an inherent truth that connects us all. As we come together, we activate our truest potentials, individual gifts, and collective resolve. We are ushering a whole new reality that we know is possible and is waiting for us to embrace it. Join founder Neil Gore and the entire Portal to Ascension team with hosts Alan Steinfeld, Michelle Anderson, and Joan of Angels over these 3 days, April 21st to 23rd, 2023. We will experience musical performances by Larissa Stowe and the Shakti Tribe, Vox Angeles, Share the Light, Admiral Apollo, and Torquemji. This conference features incredible luminaries such as JJ and Desiree Hurtak, Adam Apollo, Carolyn Corey, Robert Schock, Linda Moulton Howe, Robert Edward Grant, Barbara Lamb, and many more. Register now at ascensionconference.com. It is time for humanity to awaken.
KAren, I just love you to the moon and back. Just to have a moment with you is very exciting.
Aww.
So, guys, I want to tell you a bit about KAren Swain. She is a teacher of deliberate creation, spiritual mentor, educator, inspirational speaker, host of Accentuate the Positive Media. Her show is fantastic, by the way. Author of Return to Love and Awakened by Death, and creator of the Awakening Soul series. KAren activates, accelerates, acclimates, and accentuates the New World teachers, supporting the light weavers. Just love that. The light weavers, indigo, starseeds, and difference makers, bringing in a new dawn of reality during these times of transition on Earth. She enlightens you to the power of your thoughts and beliefs, how they create your reality, and how to live in alignment with your emotional guidance system. And guys, this is guidance on a cosmic scale, remembering your connection to your spiritual team, multidimensional selves, your soul plan, why you're here, and how you have to live. So KAren, we are so happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you, darling one. You've been multitasking today too. I noticed that you did a live before on Facebook.
You did. You caught that, right? Yes, we did. We decoded the astrology of what's coming up in the next few days. But I'm thinking you have a presentation for us.
Yes.
And why don't you just take it away?
Well, thanks, darling one. That's beautiful. First of all, I want to say what an awesome day it's been. So I set my alarm at 6 o'clock because it's midday here in Sydney, Australia, a beautiful sunny Sunday. It's spring here in Australia. We've had a cold spring. It's still a little bit chilly, but it's an absolutely superb day. And I woke up at 5 and I've basically been listening to everyone since 5 o'clock as I've been cleaning the house and making breakfast and getting ready, cleaning the house ready for the party tonight that we're having this afternoon. And I'm just blown away by everyone that has been speaking. You know, Joan was speaking about her art and showing her art in the beginning, and Michelle, heart-centered living, and Deborah doing her work since 1978. I'm looking at this woman thinking, you don't look old enough to have been doing your work since 1978. Ascension tips and healing the negative self so that we all raise our vibe and transmute and ascend and do the ascended master dance. I loved what she was saying. And Lorianette, oh my God, amazing. Similar energy, I thought, to Matteo Di Stefano, not because she's European, but just that remembrance of her connection to her multidimensional self and her soul tribe. I thought she was amazing. And the Stargate experience, there's been a lot of interactive stuff happening today, which has been beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I loved the Stargate experience. And Rebecca Hardcastle-Wright, isn't she amazing? Isn't she amazing? She got 8 children. Exoconsciousness mainstream is making exoconsciousness a mainstream planetary movement. I mean, I'm with you there. And I loved what she said when she said we learned a lot about science, like everyone was thinking about science during COVID. And as humans, we've never moved more forward until we include consciousness in the science that we talk about, which is where allopathic medicine goes so wrong. You know, they just look down a microscope and forget to look out into the cosmos and look at energy. And her presentation on the crop circles was amazing. I know, I'll have to get her on the show too. Michelle said you want to get her. And Flo, what a beautiful conversation with Flo, and talking about breathe in your galactic codes, freedom to be yourself. The doorway to the new earth beings is with you. The beauty to be yourself is being you in full. I just love that. And then, as Michelle said, the frequency, how did he call it? Exercise, frequencies. I don't even know how to spell that. We play the game, but we don't become the game. And this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Starseeds awakening in this presentation and what I'm seeing. And of course, Mary talking about the starseed children waking up. But, you know, there are so many starseeds, just like I said to Mary, that are like in their 50s, 60s. When Mary talks about the children, I think back, you know, I'm in my 60s now, and I think back to when I was a kid, and I was one of those kids. Like, that's why I say I wish there was a Mary Rodwell in every school. I was a totally creative, dyslexic being who was completely psychic, and I could feel everybody. I, you know, like know everything about people when I looked into their eyes. I could see music synesthesia, like I can see music with color. I was one of those kids, and just didn't have any guidance on that at all. No guidance on that at all. And wouldn't it be great if there was someone around for kids that was suffering? Because I was just one of those empathic, psychic, suffering kids, like feeling everybody's energy and not knowing how to cope with it. And I came from a completely dysfunctional family where mum and dad were trying to kill each other, and feeling all those frequencies and trying to protect my energy body from the harshness of their stressful thoughts. And, you know, this is a pretty harsh world, and there are so many starseeds or sensitives or light workers or whatever you want to call them, star children, that come into this world and have been coming in for hundreds of years. There's just a lot more of them now, and they're coming from so many diverse places in the universe, and they're just having this incredible remembrance, as Mary was talking about, of where they've been before and what they were doing and how they're going to integrate that into this world. But the thing about this world is that it has a bandwidth of frequency available to experience unlike any other world. So it has this huge bandwidth of frequency where you can experience the denser frequencies of what we call depression, where you want to kill yourself, to absolute connection to your source energy and bliss. And so many of the beings that are here to uplift this world and expand the consciousness of this world have been playing in other dimensions and other places in different planets where the bandwidth of frequency is not so vast. So they don't have that expertise in knowing how to navigate emotions, even though they have this expanded energy body where they feel emotion so sensitively. They've not experienced the density of emotion that's available here. And I think that that's where a lot of problems happen. I hear so often through clients and see people online who empath groups and starseed groups who are complaining about their sensitivity and how they are victimized by how sensitive they are and how they can feel everybody's thoughts. And, you know, they have this synesthesia, like they navigate the world psychically completely different to the way many mainstream people do, just through our 5 senses. And then people who have Kundalini experiences or awakenings, and now their psychic abilities come online. And how do I navigate that? How do I navigate my psychic abilities or my sensitivity inside a world that offers such a diverse range of frequencies that I can tune into. And this is what I call deliberate creation. So as Joan so beautifully said, I'm a teacher of deliberate creation. So what is it to be a deliberate creator? So really, a lot of people, when they think of the law of attraction and creating deliberately, think about creating the stuff of this world. Like, I want the lover, I want the car, I want the house, I want the career, I want to get on Portal to Ascension, talk on one of those conferences. We've got all these things about what we want. Like, how can I create that? But deliberate creation is not about it creating. Well, when I say it's not about, well, it is about creating all that. But first, we have to understand how we create that. And we create that through evoking frequencies, to alignment of energy. And as I see the sensitives and the star children come into this world and try and navigate that, this is where I think this Mary's work, and everyone who's been online today, everyone that's been online today and is online every other day in every conference that Neil's putting on, Neil and Joan and Alan and everyone, Sheila and Michelle, of course, and everyone that's teaching this work, so important to help us overcome our stressful thoughts or our stressful beliefs. Because what I see is that these amazing light beings come to this world as the cleaners. In fact, they come into families that hold a lot of density. They hold a lot of, it says in the Bible, the chain of pain, and the sins of the father are visited on the son. And I saw that in my family. I saw my father, who was very angry and violent when we were young, and how we hated that. We're all really sensitive beings, or my two brothers and I. And then my brother turned into my father, like the sins of the fathers are visited. Like, we just take on those energies and we become those energies instead of stopping the chain of pain here, so that we can move forward as an experience on planet Earth, where we move into these higher frequencies and we create a new experience on planet Earth. We're not navigating our stressful beliefs all the time and living inside fear. So how do we do that? When I speak to the Arcturian Council and even the Zeta Council, okay, how do we do that? They said, answer that question first. I was going to go off. The way we do that is, first we have to understand our connection to our what is called higher self, or our divinity. What I see is that once you've established a really strong connection to your higher self, then that higher self, that aspect of you can connect to the rest of the cosmos. It's like the portal you go through to connect to the cosmos. And that higher self is God in action, is divinity, is pure positive energy. Like, the energy of your source or God is that pure positive energy. And once you establish that as your knowing, not the knowing of your stressful thoughts, but the knowing of your expanded self, you have that portal through which you can connect to the rest of the universe. What I'm seeing is, when people don't have a really strong establishment with that divinity within them, that higher self, they can connect to other frequencies, but then they're connecting through the portal of their stressful thoughts, and they're having negative experiences, or what we deem as human as negative experiences. And they feel victimized by some of the energies that they're experiencing. When Rebecca was talking, she came into the Wish Alliance, and I heard her talk in the Wish Alliance, and I remember Sheila said to her, "Don't hold back, Rebecca." And she talked about some things that were like just shocking. And it's hard to, the Black Ops programs and the control and how the mind control, and yeah, it's hard to sort of comprehend from our linear human perspective. But once you have that establishment of your higher self as you, because many people say, how do I connect to my higher self? How do I channel my higher self? How do I receive messages from my higher self? I had a client friend, member of our tribe, online the other day saying, I don't feel worthy enough to have that connection. And the guides came through and said, you don't feel worthy enough to be connected to your true self. Isn't that interesting? Because that higher self perspective is who you are. The ego personality, mind body personality complex that we're donning in this reality is the actor, is the role that you're playing on the stage of life, if you like. But the higher self perspective is who you are. And so to not feel worthy enough to connect to that higher self perspective is kind of so strange, because it is the truth of who you are. So when you do remember that higher self perspective as who you are, and not the ego personality complex as who you are, or your stressful thoughts or negative beliefs as who you are, now you have access, like I call it, backstage pass, access all areas. Now you have access to talk to all manner of beings in the cosmos, and to receive this information that they have for us. And so we can move to a new experience on planet Earth. I'm thinking, normally I'm used to speaking in front of people where I ask them to ask questions. So I have to keep talking, because is there any questions in the chat? No. Audio.
You are doing great.
I'm doing great. Okay,
great.
so what they want to say about the Arcturian Collective, and the Grey Collective have actually told me this about telepathy. So as humans, we don't understand the way that our mind works with streams of consciousness. And when you're using your telepathic abilities, they have shown me, and the Greys have shown me this, which has been really interesting. They have shown me how they have such mental agility that they can project streams of thought. Like, say you're talking to a group of people, if you're telepathically communicating with this group of people, you can have many conversations simultaneously, telepathically, by projecting different streams of thoughts to different people and connecting, aligning energy and connecting to different people talking all at once. Oh, that's Joan. Yeah, connecting all at once. And it seems mind-boggling to enough. Mary was saying how the children don't talk because they're already communicating telepathically with people. They're already feeling what people are thinking, so they don't feel the need to talk. And they have this mental agility. I had a client once, I think he's 15 now, 16 now. He came to me when he was 9. His mother brought him to me. Since the age of 2, she had been dragging him around to therapists, trying to make him talk, because he didn't talk. And when he came, he's such a beautiful being. Honestly, I felt so honored to meet this amazing 9-year-old, much like, the people that Mary meets, because I don't speak to too many children. But she was a friend of mine, and she said, maybe KAren can, give you some clues, because she was going to mainstream therapists trying to make this kid talk, and at 9 he wasn't talking. And so she comes to me and I'm like, sorry, this kid didn't come here to speak in, linear conversation the way we speak, because he came here to teach us about our telepathic abilities, because he's talking very well, he's communicating telepathically. And I reminded this mother that before she demanded that he talk at around the age of 2, when you think a child should talk, she was already communicating telepathically, as we all do with children when we're parents, like babies especially, that don't have language. You'll see a mother say, oh, he's hungry, or she's hungry, or I've got to change his nappy, or they're tired. And you think to yourself, that's normal. A mother knows. But how does a mother know that? How does a mother know that? Because she's tapped in telepathically to the needs and the wants of the child. Sometimes you don't know that, and the kid's screaming and you're going like, what's wrong with you? Trying to work it out from a linear mind perspective. But telepathy training is such an amazing way of getting used to the agility and the magnificence of consciousness streaming through the human mind. They've said that we only use 10% of our mind or our brain. And in fact, we use 100% of the brain, but we only use 10% of the capacity of what's available through this brain. So this training that everyone has been doing online and everyone's talking about is us expanding our ability through our physical apparatus about what we can do, the agility of our human mind, what we do when we can stream consciousness through our human mind, and what's possible, how we can create, how we are the creators of our reality. For most people who are not having this conversation, have no idea that they're the creators of their reality. They know they want things, they know they don't want things, They're conditioned to think that getting what you want is hard, like you have to struggle or you have to work hard, or don't give up your day job. If you've got a passion, you know, don't give up your day job because it's going to be really hard for you to try and make money or be successful. Like, we're bombarded with these limiting ideas constantly on a daily, hourly, minute by minute basis through the collective thought forms, the vibrational spheres, and the mainstream media. And I think that as we awaken to the expansion of who we are as humans, we have to disregard those limiting thoughts and tap in, tune into the agility and the magnificence of who we are as humans with an expanded consciousness. Because there are aspects of us, just like Mary was talking about, that live in other dimensions that are here to teach us and bring us knowledge. And when we can tap into that through the portal of the higher self, coming through the portal of love, people call it the portal of the heart, having that wisdom flowing through you from that source of love, anything and everything is possible on planet Earth. Like, anything and everything is possible on planet Earth. I was having a chat to the guides this morning. Well, they talk to me constantly. I call my guides very irreverently the mob. I called them the mob when I was young because, just like I said, I was one of those kids that had clear guidance all the time, but I had no idea what I was doing. I just thought I was talking to myself, or I thought that if I received messages, it was just like common sense. I used to call it common sense until I did a 5-year full-time naturopathy course looking for some answers. Didn't find the answers I was looking for specifically in that. I did think that what we were taught, especially about the human body and how the human body works, should be in every school. Like, why didn't I learn this stuff in school? And I did learn about diet, of course, and massage and all the stuff that you learn as a naturopath. Had a baby, opened and closed a furniture and homeware shop, and was like in my mid-30s and lost. And I thought, what am I going to do with my life? And I thought, well, massage is a good way to make money. I'll go back into massaging. And I used to massage all manner of people. I was a mobile masseuse, and all these Hollywood movie stars used to come to Sydney to make movies, Australia. And I had worked in the movie industry in various realms, and I had a lot of friends in the movie industry, and I used to massage all these Hollywood movie stars, which was really incredible. But I noticed that as I would touch people, or even before I got there, I was tuning into their energy, and I was just receiving all this information because I was putting myself out there with the intention to help or heal. Then the amount of information I was receiving about people became exponentially huge, and I had to learn to navigate that. So that's when I started doing energy healing workshops to understand what was happening. Again, after doing that for about, I can't remember, 10 years or so, I thought that everything I learned should be taught in our schools about how to connect to people's guides and how to speak to your own guides and remote view the body, look inside the body like an X-ray, talk to people's souls. All of this should be taught in schools, I think to myself. And I often have this dream of getting children together, not so much to teach them, but to listen to them and have them teach us, have the school where the kids are teaching the adults. Anyway, where am I going with this? So I started to look into my multidimensional aspects, and that's when I started to remember who I am as this multidimensional being. And I had to learn how to, it was around that time where being in the 3D environment, like much of the sensitives here, became really hard for me. I'd go into the supermarket and I would hear everybody's thoughts, but not just the people in the supermarket. I would hear all the thoughts of the people that were the marketing people of all the packages, the artists, what colors they used, what, the logos and all like the amount of information that became available to me was completely overwhelming, and I didn't know how to navigate that. I just drop my basket and go home and rock in the corner and think, I'm never going outside again. I'm never going outside again. So what I learned was, that's right, that's what I wanted to say about the crop circle. Remember the crop circle. What I learned was that I had to clean up my own stressful thoughts first, because I was a vibrational match to the stress of other people when I was stressing out about myself, which was self-criticism and the I'm not good enough story that most humans, get involved in. And when I raised my vibration to a level of feeling good about myself, I could go out into this 3D world and feel comfortable, because I could still feel other people's thoughts and their stressful thoughts and know who they were, but it wasn't affecting me directly. What I see is that a lot of people feel energy and they make it personal. They say, I'm feeling down, or I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling fearful. And they might be tapping into frequency all around them. Somebody could have died in a place, or, they've tapped into energy that's left there and they're making it personal. So having an ability to discern energy, this energy that I'm feeling, is it coming from my stressful thoughts or beliefs, or am I feeling something outside myself, is something that's really important that we all need to understand when we expand our fields and expand into the connection of our multidimensional nature. But what I wanted to say was that Nadi was showing the crop circles, and this morning the guides were talking to me about aspects of the self, and somebody else talked about the soul. I think it was the Stargate experience, Prageet and Julianne. I think it was Prageet that said that the soul breaks into 12 aspects, and these aspects are living, some on Earth, some on other planets. And I asked the guides, is that right? And they said, well, it's kind of like having children. You could have 12 children, or you could have a few, or it just depends your intention and what you want to do, and the intention of the soul, how many aspects you'll break into. But they gave me this image of how it works, and they've given it to me so many times. And I've said to them, what am I supposed to do with this image? Do you want me to draw this? Because as we look at the crop circles, we look at them on a 2D experience, right? And then Nadi showed, in the Thrive One, how they animated the crop circles and made them 3D, and they brought them to life. Because not only are they 3D, but they're constantly, the energy that's involved in them is constantly in flow and moving. And that just, I remember I saw that, I think it was in 2012, and it just blew my mind. But she asked us to tune into one of the crop circles, and I was looking at one of the crop circles, and I asked myself, I wonder why I'm so attracted to that. And it was because the image of the crop circle was similar to the image that they gave me about how your aspects and your soul works. So we have more than one higher self, which it sort of breaks out into different aspects of soul, which breaks out into different physical or non-physical lives, depending on what the soul is wanting to experience in different dimensions and in different planets. Like, it's so intricate and beautiful, and every single aspect of us is all connected. I wonder if I can bring up that specific crop circle. Can I do that, Joan and Neil? Can I bring up this image?
Yeah, definitely go for it. Share. Go ahead and click share screen.
Let me have a look. Oh, sorry. Am I showing my screen? Okay, let me find this
Yes,
image.
you are.
Okay, this is the image that they were showing me. So if you could imagine we're looking at a 2D thing, but what they were showing me was that those circles is actually energy. It's a ball of energy that's spinning. And see how it's sort of like connecting to all these little balls of energy, and they're all moving and spinning. If you imagine that all those little dots, big dots and little dots, are aspects of the soul, like some are the higher self aspects, some are the soul aspects, some are the life aspects, and see how everything's connected. And as you go around the circle, you've got different lifetimes in different dimensions and different time frames, but it's all connected. And it's all connected to a central aspect in the middle, which is like the higher self of some of your higher selves, which is more connected to the source energy that is God. And as I looked at this crop circle, I'm like, oh my God, this is what they've been trying to show me. But in the image that they gave me, it's all in color, and it's all moving, and it's all energy. So we're looking at a 3D representation of energy, which I just thought was so beautiful. But this is who we are. Like this crop circle's like saying, this is who you are. But as I was looking at that, the guides were saying, this is like the construct of who you are as an energetic being, a multidimensional energetic being, but this is also a blueprint of how energy works throughout the cosmos. And I'm like, wow. So it's that as above, so below, as within, so without type of thing. It's like, it's not just for the physical human or the being or the soul experience. It's like for how energy connects throughout the cosmos. It was interesting. I was having a chat, doing a channeling with I'll stop sharing the screen now, with my team. Group. I've got an online group called the Inner Sanctum. And I was channeling one of, I had Deb Shakti booked in to come in as a guest speaker, and she fell over and hurt herself and just before the thing. So I thought, well, I'll do a channeling. So I channeled the mob, or blissful beings, which was the prettier name that I gave them when I kept asking them, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And they didn't give me any name or any identity, because they laughed at the question that I would ask, who are you? Because I'm asking from a human perspective, as if I'm talking to a being, a singular being, when I'm talking to a collective stream of complex, a collective stream of energy, which has been called in the law of one a social memory complex. It's like, imagine all these millions of lives that have been lived, what everybody learnt from that experience, and all that energy comes together in a stream of consciousness throughout the cosmos, and you can tap into that stream of consciousness. And you're asking, who are we? Who are we? They said, we have been so many people. Who do you want to talk to? Like, pick someone and we'll show up as that person. So it's like the social memory complex of this part of the cosmos, or part of the universe. I think in the law of one, the people that were channeling the social memory complex of Venus, which gave a name of Ra. So it was a social memory complex of one planet. And our planet Earth has a social memory complex. So a stream of consciousness of all the collective thoughts that's ever been thought, throughout the history of Earth and beyond. It's mind-boggling, isn't it? I'm getting off track again. But what was I going to say? I've gone off track again as I've gone into the social memory complex. The guides said to me, no, I've gone off track again. Anyway, it'll come back. Has anyone got any questions? Neil, Joan, anyone? Creatures like dogs have much larger range of frequencies than normal humans. Dogs, I believe, start at 60 hertz up to about, and focus on the Delta Mayer band strip. Oh, interesting. From Nissan, New York City. Oh, you're talking about dogs in the chat. Dogs in the chat. So,
yeah, Karen, I stepped away for a second, but I heard you call me. Did you get that Ruby core question right there about what language frequencies do dogs, or did you just say that?
No, I was just reading the chat. What's the question?
I think this.
What language frequencies do dogs and such creatures like dog has much larger range of frequencies? Well, the guides have told me about being an animal. There's been much debate about being an animal, either on this planet or any other planet. Is it an evolutionary process? So do we start as animals and evolve into humans? Or can we be a highly evolved, had many lives as a human and be highly evolved and come back in an animal? And with humans, I think that what we do is we always ask these questions. It's like either or. And the guides always say yes to both, because there is no either or. There is just, what is the soul intending? What is the soul intending? What is the soul intending? Are you intending to have an evolutionary process? Do you dip your toe into the third dimensional experience as an animal? Because just like is being said in the chat, an animal life is easier because they don't have the same egoic complex structure as a human, in that they're more connected to source energy. They don't sort of fight back and argue back. They're not as resistant as humans who have free will. Animals have free will too, but it's just an easier life. So a lot of people who want to experience the third dimensionality, either on Earth or in other planets, want to dip their toe in, and what does it feel like to have this bandwidth of frequencies available to me and to experience, and they can come in as trees or rocks or animals, and then evolve to a more difficult lifetime, which would be a human lifetime. Animals can have difficult lifetimes as well, and of course there are different levels of difficulty in the human lifetime. But what I see a lot with people is that they suffer from they play victim from the suffering they experience as humans. But from the soul's perspective, it takes an advanced soul to choose a lifetime where there's going to be a lot of contrast or a lot of suffering or a lot of stuff to get over. And they plan that from their soul's perspective, knowing that they've had certain lifetimes either on Earth or in other places where they think that they can navigate that. I had names. I've spoken to so many people over the years. You'll have to excuse me. I can never remember anybody's name. But I had a wonderful woman on the show who was doing a soul planning session of her Earth life from her Zeta or Grey perspective. So she had answered the call, as many starseeds did, to come to planet Earth to be a part of the shift in yugas, the shift in the human experience and the expansion of consciousness on human Earth that we've been going through and that we're going through now. And she said from her experience as a life form on another planet, sure, that looks easy to me. And she was choosing her life from another physical aspect. So rather from the spirit realm, she was choosing to come to Earth from another physical aspect as an ET. And she was putting on her plate, she said it was like a smorgasbord. Yeah, I'll put death and divorce and depression. I'll put all this stuff on my plate. That'll be easy to navigate. Like, yeah, I can, utilize it. I can get over these things. I'll know how to work with those energies. And then, of course, as she came into her human experience and she bumped up against these experiences that she chose from her ET perspective, she realized just how hard it was to navigate the energies from this experience than just looking on from another experience. So there are many different things that we can choose from our soul's perspective, and people that have been great master souls, who have spent many lifetimes on Earth and have learned how to navigate the bandwidth of frequencies available here and maintain connection to their higher self or source energy, also choose to come into animal form to be a guide or a companion to somebody else that is navigating this human experience. And so this master soul can be inside an animal body, and then a novice soul can be inside an animal body. So there is no evolutionary process and no, linear thinking from that perspective with animals. There can also be direct multi-dimensional beings such as spirits and ETs. That's why I said there is chaos when I notice. I always look at the other way, completely bored with low vibes. Has anyone got any? So what I'd like to do, must be my inner toll. What I'd like to do from a practical point of view is, how much time have we got, Joan?
We have about another 10 or 12 minutes.
What I'd like to do from a practical point of view is to clear up some frequencies and see if you can find, for everyone listening and watching this, including the panelists, I know that Michelle's partying on there, but if there has been some upset, because as Joan said in the bio, I'm someone that teaches deliberate creation and teaches you about your emotional guidance system. The way we navigate the mind and the bandwidth of frequencies is through our emotions. So emotion is an energy. It's us interpreting energy through our feeling sense. Just like our sight, we interpret energy through the cones and rods in our eyes. Energy hits those and we interpret it, we call it sight. Same with sound. Energy comes into our physical apparatus and we interpret those sound waves, those energy waves, as sound. Touch is the same. We have these receptor sites in our skin, all over our skin, which interprets energy, and we call it touch. And smell and taste is the same. So feelings or emotions is us interpreting energy. We're interpreting the frequency or the vibrational rate or frequency or vibe of a thought. usually our own thought. As Byron Katie says, no two people ever meet. You only ever meet your thoughts about that person. You can meet their energy, but then you can also respond to that energy through your own thoughts. Like, how do I feel about that? What do I think about that? We only really ever meet how we're judging another. So think about something or someone that's upset you, or there is discord there, and tune into that energy and ask yourself, how does it feel? Oh, thanks, Joan. I put my website there. Thanks for that. And then ask yourself, as you're feeling that energy, maybe some of you don't want to go there, ask yourself, is that how you want to feel? Get connected to your higher self and ask for an enlightened perspective. What am I feeling? Oh, I'm seeing all the angels everywhere. I'm seeing, wow. Oh, I'm seeing a mass of angels everywhere. Helping people do that. Because what emotions do is they actually show us what we're believing to be true. And it's usually what we're believing to be true about us. Even in this enlightened community, I see this happening all the time. There is misunderstanding with people. I'm always putting out fires. It's like, that person did this, or that person said that, and I'm upset, and I'm upset, and I'm upset. And it's not usually what the other person is doing. It's what you're believing about the other person or yourself. So negative emotion or any pain in your body is indication that you're believing a stressful thought, or you're believing a thought. Let's not call it a stressful thought. And then that frequency shows you what level that thought's on. And as deliberate creators, we have the ability to shift that frequency. Just like I said, that the Zetas or the Greys showed me how telepathy, that they can put out all these different streams of thoughts and have many conversations, and all those different conversations can be at different levels of frequency. So this deliberate creation teaching is getting us really tuned into the stream of consciousness that we're thinking all the time, and learning to be agile in moving through consciousness, in moving through how we think and feel. So every time I hit a negative thought, I know in the moment I'm having it that I can shift that. It's not a reality. It's not a reality. It's not really what's happening, because we believe that when we feel bad, that this reality is causing us to feel bad. So therefore, this is what's happening. I know that whatever is happening, it's what I'm believing about what's happening that is causing me to feel the way I do. And because I know that, I know I can shift that no matter what's happening. Doesn't really matter what's happening. We create our reality through how we think and feel. And so when we can shift our vibrational frequency to a higher vibe and find peace around the conflict that we're thinking about, it absolutely melts away any of the conflict around us, and things just miraculously shift to a way that you want it to happen. So when everything's going wrong, if you can find a way to be at peace with that, everything just starts going right, because reality acclimates to the vibration that you're evoking.
You are so right, Karen, that it does, we can, just by our thoughts, change the future outcome. We can change that whole morphogenic field if we start to change our thinking.
Absolutely.
Right. And I know that that's what you do. You teach people how to change their thoughts.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, in the collective, in the mainstream collective, we have these sayings like a leopard can't change his spots, and you'll never change people, and people don't change. And, there is such this limiting collective thought that tells us all the time that when we learn who we are, then we never change. And I say to people, it's like, oh, it's hard to change people. You can't change people. I say to people, if that was true, then I wouldn't have a business, because that's what I do. People come to me with their worries and their stress and, trying to navigate their multidimensionality, their sensitivity, and feeling all these frequencies around. And education, it's all about education. That's why I say I wish there was a Mary Rodwell in every school. I wish this was taught, the education of energy and frequency, and the vibration of thought and the bandwidth of energy and frequency. I wish this was the energy sciences. I wish it was taught in every school and every university. And I believe maybe after I've left the planet, but one day it will be. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. It will be taught, just as meditation will be taught, yoga, consciousness will be taught, even just simple things like positive affirmations, reframing your thoughts. I'm convinced that over the next year or so, we're going to have a shift. And I think that things are changing here in that way.
Things are changing. I know people that are putting mindfulness and meditation throughout schools. I'm seeing that all the time. It's not quite like telepathy, but it is about how to navigate stressful thoughts. There was a woman I put in my book, and she's been on the show many times, called Scarlett Lewis. So her 5-year-old, probably over 10 years ago now, was killed in the Sandy Hook shootings. And she had this thought at his funeral that the shooter was an ex-student. And if the shooter had been taught in school how to navigate his stressful thoughts, then he wouldn't have grown up into a young adult and felt so disempowered that he wanted to go back to his school and murder people. So he murdered about 25 people, teachers and kids, and her 5-year-old was one of them. But she said something really beautiful to me. I'll never forget. It makes me cry every time. She said that her greatest fear as a mother was the senseless murder of her 5-year-old, her precious child. And when she realized that she had experienced, in fact, her greatest fear, she realized that every other fear that she'd ever had kind of had dissipated, had disappeared. Like she'd hit in her grief, she had hit some state of grace, if you like, that she had no more fear left. And she had this expansive awakening. And she had an in-body life review where she looked back through her life and she got to see the frequency of every thought that she'd ever thought, and realized that 90% of her thoughts were based in fear. Like, not like I'm scared I'm going to die, but like, am I running late? Do I look okay? Am I good enough? Those little thoughts, those little criticisms, and that she had lived inside this fear energy and hadn't even noticed it until she had stopped feeling fear. And she said that she lived inside this state of grace for about 8 months. She had an older son at the time. And in that 8 months, she got so proactive. Like, she started this program where she calls it the enrichment programs, where she puts mindfulness teachings into schools. And now, years later, this program is in thousands and thousands of schools. But about 8 months after that, she hit a tiny little thought of fear, that she had been so busy during this time after the death of her son that she worried that her older son was, she worried that she was neglecting him because she'd been so busy. And that was like that thought of fear, that thought of self-criticism. And she said, bang, as soon as she hit that critical thought, she kind of fell back down into earth, into that default setting of worry and anxiety. And then she had to navigate that again. But she had this state of grace, much like people talk about when they have near-death experiences.
Well, right. And they also talk about how the moment they start to think of their life on the earth and their loved ones, they fall right back down here into their body again. You said something so interesting. I just want to comment, Karen. When my daughter was in my womb, it was like a month before she was born, 3 weeks before she was born, she was breech. And the doctor tried to turn her, and I heard her screaming to me. I had never heard anything like a scream like that before. It's like, mommy, tell her my cord's too short. And so we stopped. But I think it's just so amazing to me that we can hear everything that's interdimensional. We can hear the beings, we can hear our unborn children, we can hear our departed loved ones. We just have to trust that we can weave that.
Absolutely. I've got a little nephew who I just adore, and he's one of those kids that Mary talks about. Like, he just turned 21 on September 11. He was born the day the towers came down. And I remember being in the hospital looking up at the television, watching the towers come down. I said to my brother and sister-in-law, we won't forget his birthday. And I knew that this soul came in. He came in on that day, right? And he is he doesn't do 3D school. He can't read or write. He is the most psychic. He's an artist, expansive being. I went out for lunch with him the other day for my birthday, a few weeks ago, and he was telling me how depressed he is because his parents are not awake. They don't understand who he is. And so he's got crazy Auntie Karen who says that he's from another planet and he's here to save the world. That's what he said to me. You think I'm an alien here to save the world? And I'm like, yep.
I love that.
I love that because you believe in him. You see it.
Oh, he came to me before he was born and said hi. You know, I thought he was a girl because I saw him because he was so pretty. My brother was the same. He was so pretty. He looked like a little blonde cherub with bright blue eyes. I saw him too, but I didn't hear him. And then he came to me and I said, because I told my sister-in-law, you're having a girl. And then he came and I like, oh my God, you're a boy. You're a boy. And he goes, yeah. And I said, but you're so pretty. You look like a girl. But yeah, I had this beautiful conversation with him before he, you know, was born. And it's so great to be able to do that. You can talk to dead people. You can talk to people that haven't come yet, you know, like you can.
Right.
It's just
all right.
It's amazing. Anyway, am I yakking on too long?
No, you did good. Karen, how
There's
can
Michelle
people
at the party.
find you? I know she wants to dance for us and party on. How can people find you, love?
KarenSwain.com. If you want to hear the show, I've been showcasing New World teachers for about 25 years, started in my 30s, putting on, I joined the Academy of Light when I was trying to navigate who I am and what I'm here to do. People had said to me, you're going to speak in front of thousands of people, and to a shy person that was terrified to stand up and talk in front of people, I thought that's never going to happen. And I thought, right, well, if I'm going to talk in front of people, I better start. So I started facilitating a meditation group, and we would put on a guest teacher every Monday night. And I found myself doing that for about 5 years. And then I went on to radio and did it. So showcasing New World teachers for like 25 years, about 13 of those years on radio and podcasting. So that's the show, Accentuate the Positive Media. The name, I went on radio initially, and I'm talking to the mainstream. So I kind of tried to give it a mainstream name, Accentuate the Positive. Everyone could, you know, understand Accentuate the Positive. And when I came off radio and just started podcasting, I was going to change it to a much more cosmic name, but I didn't. I just kept the name because Accentuate the Positive, it's not be positive, it's accentuate the positive, is actually the teaching in a sentence. Yeah, so it's on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey. It's on about 40 audio platforms. It's everywhere. Yeah, beautiful. So if you put in, you'll see it all on KAren Swain. I'll pop in this.
Oh, good. Thanks so much, Karen.
You mentioned your YouTube too, right? KAren Swain YouTube, the KAren Swain Show.
Yeah, that's the podcast show. It has here. This is the KarenSwain.com is my website, and that's that KAren Swain dash ATP Media. That's a website just dedicated to the show. So I've got you know, hundreds and hundreds of shows on there. I put them in categories. So if you're looking for healers, or if you're looking for teachers or channels, or you know, you're interested in galactic stuff, or you want to talk near-death experiences, I've kind of popped them all in categories on that website.
And you're also going to be interviewing a lot of our speakers at the Portal to Ascension conference. So check out a show for everything Karen does, but definitely also she's going to be doing a series with all of them. Well, I don't think all of them, but a good amount of the speakers from our conference. So
so Neil contacts me and says, do you want to, you know, talk to someone? Because I only do the show once a week. There are some people that talk to people every day, but I only do it once a week because I've got because I run courses and I see clients and I put on events. I'm putting on an event tonight. I'm putting on an event in about another month. I put on events here in Australia and Sydney. So I do a lot. So the show is something I do once a week, which takes up a lot of time. But Neil's like, do you want to, you know, speak to someone? So he gave me, what do you give me, about a dozen, half a dozen? So he's basically booked out the first 4 months of next year. And I'm like, well, that's easy.
All right.
I don't have to.
Isn't that great?
That was great. And they all look amazing. And many of them, except for Geraldine, I think I hadn't actually spoken to before. And as I say, I've been doing this for 13 years. I thought I'd spoken to everyone. But what's so cool is that there are many more, like just today, all the speakers, Neil and Joan and Michelle, you know, the speakers have been amazing. It just blows my mind at the incredible human beings here on planet Earth. Like it just, because, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. You think you've seen it all, but it's like it hasn't even scratched the surface. We know who and what's out there, and the energies they're bringing through, and the technologies they're bringing through, and the, you know, that young girl, that Italian girl, when I tuned into her energy, I got so excited about her. Like I found her really exciting. She reminds me of the energy of Mateos de Stefano, who's this, you know who he is, right? This awesome soul. Yeah.
KAren,
So it's so exciting.
Thanks, KAren. Amazing.
Thanks, guys. And thanks. Somebody else is coming up, right?
So the next guest is not going to. Next guest has to reschedule, so we're going to have him on in a day or two. But Michelle, what's going on with you? Are you going to have some?
I wanted to say thank you, KAren. That was. I wish I could have listened to the whole thing, but just knowing that you're on makes me so lit up. And it's getting loud in my house, so I'm gonna take you downstairs with me. We're gonna pass the tree of life here.
Oh wow!
And just invite everyone into our little party. Can you hear?
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
Thanks to miss the party.
Wow, that's a party. That's a party.
I can't really hear, but I'm gonna bring you downstairs. You see, we have a unicorn up there.
Oh my God.
With no instinct like that of the heart, which is kind of the theme of this conference. Heartbeat. This is Aaron Rankin from Awakening Code Radio.
Eric.
I want to be there too.
Yeah.
Just beam us in, Michelle.
This is Gary Christmas.
Beam us in.
Wow.
Wow, nice band.
Okay, so I didn't want to keep you too long.
But it's your birthday.
But I just felt like we're pulsing so much positivity into the collective. Let me go out here. Maybe it'll get a little quieter out here. But because I think what Portal to Ascension is doing through this conference is really inviting people to come into our hearts, come together in the space of joy and share it with all life in every realm and every dimension. And I feel that that's what's helping to calm the collective. So that's why it was so important for me to bring you all into our little soiree here. And I wish every one of you was filling my house with your physical presence. And maybe someday we'll make that happen. But I just thank you for letting me come back on and for being such great presenters and MCs. I appreciate you all so much. I'm trying to find where it's quieter, but it's hard.
Michelle, where do you live?
I live in Orange County, California, where they just voted to do another emergency use authorization for the RSV.
Yes, they did.
I really feel like it's our job to come together and to pulse these positive vibes out, especially here in Orange County, where our election's coming up and there's, I think, some shenanigans happening, but we're going to stay in our joy and stay in the high vibe. And it's, I'm a little bit inland from Laguna Beach where our radio station is. So I hope this noise isn't bothering you too much. I'm really trying to there's people everywhere. Say hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. So I was just trying to kind of walk you through, but anyway, so tomorrow morning we're back on 10 a.m. right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, who's coming up? Who's coming up tomorrow?
Taking us into your house, and it's like we have an after party for this online event.
You're having an online after party, and Daryl, the guy who was going to come on, he works second shift. He works in the automotive industry. But what Daryl does, look, I'm trying to find a quiet spot. Here's an Egyptian painting here on papyrus. But with Daryl, I met him at Conscious Life Expo, and he throws the after party every year at Conscious Life Expo in a suite. He gets a suite. I don't know that he's done it in the last couple of years, but anyway, he's an amazing man. He's a pastor. I don't even know if he has a website. I know he does a lot of stuff on Clubhouse. he is a walking heart chakra, this man. He is so beautiful. And we really wanted to get him on tonight. And I hope he'll still be able to join us. If not, maybe on one of the other conferences.
No, he just texted me back tomorrow at 6:30. Tomorrow 6:30 p.m.
Tomorrow at 6:30. I can do that. Okay. All right, everyone. I don't know if they're going to play another song or not, but I don't want to keep you if you want to go. What,
Love you
Joan?
so much. Have fun.
That looks like a very different
party.
Love
wish
you,
we were there.
all of you.
the party that
Maura loves you.
Love you, Maura.
Love you, Maura.
I guess I can come out here. Okay, front yard. All right, you guys.
wow.
Say that again.
You have a nice place.
Yeah, beautiful place. Amazing.
You know what?
place.
It's our home. You know, it's a tract home. It's not a custom home or anything like that. We just made it ours with unicorns and dragons and fairies and angels, and more than anything. Oh, they're playing. They're oh, there he goes with that song. And can you see the moon up there? I don't know if you could see the moon.
Yeah.
So, you know, we didn't want to leave. We didn't want to leave California when a lot of, you know, stuff started happening. So I feel like we're here to hold this vibration, you know, for the rest of the world. And I've been doing these speakeasies at my house every 6 to 8 weeks since the beginning of 2020. So for me, it was really important to invite people in, not ask us to be separate, but to be unified, and to be aware of if somebody feels sick, not to come. And that's, I think, reasonable. So we continue to just spread love and light through our own hearts with this kind of music. All it is two guys playing, you know, and anyone that has an instrument can come. But I encourage people to continue doing that, having little social gatherings where they're just loving on each other and sharing that love out through all the cosmos. So is he really singing Hotel California?
It looks like a very different party to the one at my place tonight.
It's fun. You know, I used to do a lot of ceremonies and stuff, but this is what I wanted for my birthday.
Yeah, in Australia, in Sydney anyway, the kirtan is really big. You know, there's lots of people. So tonight we're doing kirtan, which is a bit more, you know, subdued than that.
Yeah, I am kind of an old rocker. All right, bye,
Michelle.
Okay.
We will see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thanks. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome.
I have a friend here in Sydney called Jasper, who is putting on alcohol-free doof dance parties. And of course, over COVID, he was just, you know, wiped out. But he managed to get one together. He hired what is called our big town hall in the city, which is this massive hall, and everyone dressed up as Alice in Wonderland characters. And he had this massive party the other night with everyone. Anyway, you guys must be tired. You look tired. It's in the middle of the night for you guys, right?
No.
I'm in Sydney, Alan.
You're in Sydney. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to visit.
Come on down.
I was in Bondi Beach. I stayed there for a while, Bondi.
Bondi's up the road from me. I was in Bondi the other day because we've had sculptures by the sea. Did you ever see sculptures where all these artists put these sculptures on the path, walking from Bondi to Bronte, and all this artwork is all, oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, we live in a beautiful place. Come on down, you guys.
Okay. I would love to go to Australia. I always wanted to do a little tour across Australia doing some events.
Yeah.
It'll happen one time.
Mm-hmm. Do it.
Well, that is the whole day then, Neil. Are we finished here?
That's day 3, y'all. And I'm going to do a couple poems, and we do still have Costa's video. So we're going to do what we did yesterday. After we close out officially, we'll play Costa's video. Okay. But yeah, it's been amazing, guys, right? Like
it has really been an amazing day. As I said, I got up at 5 o'clock and I think I watched pretty much all of it all of it, as I've been cleaning the house and cooking for tonight. But yeah, it's been fantastic. The amount of the diversity and the similarity in the speakers that you've pulled together is just amazing.
Right.
It's been
So much
really
awareness.
enjoyable. I loved it.
There's so much synchronicity with who goes after the other person.
Right.
It doesn't happen. It's not done. It's to happen consciously on the higher levels, but I'm not like thinking it out in the moment, you know? So I just see how everything flows. And a lot of times, a lot of people who know the spirit person before happens to go next. And there's like a connection there because they already shared time together, you know? So I just,
Mary and I've worked together. I've had her in my house and she's done courses in my house, just little courses.
Amazing.
Where she's asked people to meet their galactic aspects or their spirit guides. And yeah, I love Mary. She's just phenomenal because she lives miles away from me. She's up in Queensland, which is miles away from me. But she was down playing grandma in Sydney. And I said, oh, you're in Sydney? Come on, let's have a gathering. So we did that a couple of years ago, before COVID. Everything was before COVID. Right. Anyway, love you
Mary
guys.
was a highlight. Everyone. It's been a great day, Neil. Thank you.